Welcome back to Star Wars Central, your #1 source for news on all things Star Wars. This video coming up now is infested with spoilers. Do not continue if you want to keep Episode 7 a surprise. A massive amount of Star Wars Episode 7 concept art has been leaked online. First off, it looks awesome, but does hint a bit of storyline as well, so if you're not in it for spoilers, then please leave now. So the concept art varies a lot. There are hangars, planets, bases, Darth Vader's helmet, a load of new characters, as well as the confirmed return of the Sith, new Jedi, and something really weird, Chewie with a robot arm. Yes, Chewbacca did somehow get a robotic arm, no idea why. So I'm going to go through all of the concept art in this analysis. This may take a while, so I'm going to start off with the most important parts first. The absolute most important part, even more important than Darth Vader's helmet, is the return of the Sith. This concept art shows a battle on an ice planet, possibly Renvar instead of Hoth, because Renvar had ancient Jedi ruins on its surface. The picture shows a female Jedi battling someone out of the shot, whilst in the background a Sith who appears to be wearing some sort of breathing device like Darth Malgus wore in Star Wars The Old Republic, or like the respirator that Darth Vader has. There is also a character lying on the ground next to him. Not sure who it is, but it looks like it may be a friend of the Jedi's, or perhaps another Jedi that the Sith has defeated. Either way, the Sith looks like he's about to use some sort of force ability on the Jedi. Another cool thing to note here is that it looks like the Jedi is using Luke Skywalker's first lightsaber, the lightsaber that was lost on Bespin. So no idea how it ended up here or if it's just coincidence, but maybe that leaked Star Wars story about the kids finding his lightsaber wasn't that far from the truth. Next up here we have something that's being named the Grave Robber. The next few pieces of art we get shows someone supposedly called the Grave Robber, holding Darth Vader's helmet. Very spooky. So I'd imagine he has robbed Vader's grave on Endor and has removed the contents. The concept art shows him holding Vader's helmet on board what looks like the bridge of an Imperial ship. Note the angular window design in the background. The art also shows us that he has a robotic hand, which even though this is just art, does look absolutely awesome. The next piece of art about the Grave Robber is very, very creepy. It shows him examining and touching Vader's helmet with his hand, which is quite damaged, perhaps due to it being burnt on, the giant funeral pyre, or being buried, or maybe a lot more time has passed than we think. We get to see the Grave Robber's face, which shows us that he is definitely some sort of organic robot hybrid. He is mostly machine with recessed red eyes, but he has this creepy looking lip that looks like it's been harvested or taken from his or someone else's body and placed on the new robotic skeleton. Perhaps, and this is my theory here, this isn't necessarily true, that the Grave Robber is grave robbing force-sensitive body parts to place them around his mechanical skeleton, allowing him to use or access the Force. Anyway, enough of the creepy weird theories, now we're moving on to something even cooler. We have some concept art showing what looks like some kids playing with a lightsaber they've found. Sounds an awful lot like the leaked plot. I'm not saying that the leaked plot was true, but this concept art does not do much in putting doubt in that theory, and it does look like Luke Skywalker's lightsaber as well. Next up we have the Millennium Falcon, and specifically where it has been in this concept art. It seems to move around from planet to planet a lot. So the first one here shows the Millennium Falcon landed on some sort of large concourse on the way to a Sith or Imperial looking facility that looks like it's been attacked as it seems to be on fire. This is Skellig Michael, the island just off the coast of Ireland that the Star Wars crew went to do filming on. So supposedly there's going to be some sort of large creepy facility on the island. Very cool indeed, especially since it seems to have been attacked, so I don't know how they're going to tie that into the plot. The Millennium Falcon has also visited Tatooine. We can see them landed at some sort of makeshift spaceport in the middle of the desert. There is also a blockade runner on the right, as well as probably a cantina next to the Falcon. I'm not sure about the scale of the blockade runner though. I'd imagine that the blockade runner was considerably larger than the Falcon. The Falcon was a freighter, the blockade runner was more of a larger ship from what I could remember, but obviously it does say work in progress in the bottom left, so maybe the scale of ships wasn't done quite to scale just so they could fit everything in this shot. Finally, we also get to see the Falcon and a piece of concept art that shows a rebel base on a large grassy planet with hangars built into the hillside and a large dish similar to the shield generator from Return of the Jedi in the background. I'm wondering why the Falcon would go here unless there is some sort of larger conflict still going on between the rebels and perhaps the Imperials. That's mostly it for the Falcon, so let's move on to Chewbacca. He has a robot arm. Yes, he does. Hopefully this concept art is not true, since the robot arm, in my opinion, doesn't look the best. But I guess it is plausible, since he would have been in constant fights if Han and Chewie stayed fighting against the Empire after Return of the Jedi. And I'd imagine after 40 years of fighting, you're bound to lose some sort of limb. The bionic arm Chewie also has no crossbow, but still has the ammunition pack, so I think the crossbow is lying around somewhere. That's it for most of the major pieces now. We've learnt that there is a grave robber that has Darth Vader's helmet, he's looted his grave, and throughout all the different pieces of concept art we see him in, he's gaining more flesh, which is very, very creepy. Chewie has potentially lost an arm and replaced it with a robotic one. That seems to be the go-to thing for robotic stuff in Star Wars. Replace their arm, yes. And the Sith have returned. That is probably the biggest thing. If the Sith are back, well, there's definitely some trouble for the Jedi Order. And it'll be interesting to see if the rule of 2 carries on as well. So now we're moving on to the non-essentials. They don't show any major news, but I guess they're still important. We're starting off with the answer as to why there was an AT-AT foot being shipped out to Episode 7's filming location in Abu Dhabi. That is answered by the awesome concept art here, showing how what seems to be smugglers have made their base or an outpost of sorts in the wreckage of an AT-AT. Very cool indeed. Something to take note of here though is that the AT-AT is very rusted. So perhaps it's been a long while since Return of the Jedi, since Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill are in it, and are a lot older now. I would guess that Star Wars has moved on by about 40 years since we were last in the universe. We also have a new type of Imperial character. They look very much like the Stormtrooper, only this time they are armed with a lightsaber and have a cloak. I'm guessing, if we're going from the extended universe here, from post-Return of the Jedi, that they are an Imperial Knight. And I'm going to go over this in a different video, as there is a huge backstory to the Imperial Knights coming from the extended universe. It would take ages to explain to you guys, so for now I will just say that Imperial Knights are damn awesome, and this concept art does look pretty cool. Another thing that we get to see is a new type of lightsaber. It's labelled the Wampa lightsaber. So I'm unsure if there is some sort of weird force-sensitive Wampa that wields it, but it is pretty nonetheless. It's much sleeker, curved, and far less conventional than most lightsabers we've seen in Star Wars so far. There are also some labels on the lightsaber that are a bit blurry, but do suggest that the lightsaber itself is made from a Wampa. At least one of the labels lists a Wampa claw as a component in the actual chassis of this hilt. Very impressive, but it's a bit weird. I'm not sure a Jedi would wield a weapon like this, because it's a bit creepy to harvest components from animals that aren't really very sentient and then use them in your lightsaber. So I'd imagine this is the lightsaber of a Dark Jedi or a Sith. Moving on to our final few pieces of concept art here, we have some character sketches showing some awesome character development and design. Mostly focused around bionic attachments. So I think for Episode 7 we're going to see more of an emphasis on the diversity of characters. Apparently mostly when it comes to if they have some weird robot arm, face, or attachment. I think it's cool that they're branching out towards more diverse designs and crazier concepts, but I'd rather they don't go too far and stick more to what they know for Episode 7. Our last piece, well not really, it's our last relevant piece of concept art. We have the technical layouts and some concept art of the Rebel base on Yavin 4, the same base that launched the attack on the first Death Star. The map shows that the base is very big. For some reason they list a dusty old room as one of the areas. The concept art also shows us that the place is stocked with X-Wings. Rather than abandoned, it seems that Rebellion have stayed in the base, or at least retaken it since Return of the Jedi. It'll be very interesting to see how this fits into the Episode 7 plot, or if it's just random concept art left behind from the original films. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I do have another video going over the Imperial Knights and the role they might play in Star Wars Episode 7 in the works at the moment, so stick around if you're interested in that. Also, I cover all of the latest news on Star Wars Episode 7, the games, Star Wars Battlefront 3, it's all here, so if you're interested in keeping up to date on this news, then feel free to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, then you are definitely super awesome. Thank you for watching, I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you.